Let me say that it is indeed an extreme honor and a pleasure to come here and to congratulate the class of 2015. I want you to know that we are so very proud of you. We are proud of your hard work and your commitment that has brought you to this point. Today is a day of thanksgiving. First of all, we ought to be thankful to God, for you never would have made it without Him. And you ought to be thankful to every mother and to every father, to every grandparent and sisters and brothers and family in a larger sense, because they have been the wind beneath your wings. And it is not Beyonce, and it is not Floyd Mayweather, and it is not somebody who you see on TV that has prayed for you at the midnight hour. It is not any of those individuals who went to work hungry sometimes so that you could have clothes and food on your table and what you needed to make it in school. So you ought to take the time this day to tell them thank you. Thank you for their love, and thank you for their continued support, and thank you how they have loved and cared and prayed for you along the way. And you ought to thank every teacher and every office worker, every principal and every cafeteria worker, every bus driver and school crossing guard and librarian, and everybody who has sold into your educational life. You ought to take the time today to tell them thank you. And you ought to pat yourselves on the back. And you ought to tell yourselves thank you for doing all that homework. You ought to tell yourselves thank you for showing up and for doing what it took to make it to this point. This is your season for grace and for favor. This recognition is your time to reap what you have sown. But commencement and recognition and graduation is not an ending. It is just a time for a new beginning. There's still middle school, and there's high school, and there's college. There's more graduation days that lie ahead. And the star is the limit today. The sky is the limit to what you can be. You can be anything in life that you desire to be. You can be the future President Barack Obama's, the future First Lady Michelle Obama's. You can be doctors and lawyers. You can be judges and principals. If your mind can conceive it, if your heart can believe it, then you can achieve it. If you can see it, then you can be it. What it's going to take is hard work. You can't spend all your time on Instagram and Facebook, but you have to continue to put your face in a book. It's not about tweeting and twerking, but it's about hard working. It's not all about the base, but it's about the books and the brains. It's about being all in life that you can be. And I know that you can make it. There is no power on earth that can hold you down. And there are no excuses. I grew up in a place called South Baton Rouge. They called it the bottom. But though I grew up in the bottom, a bottom mentality didn't grow up in me. It doesn't matter where you come from, but it matters where you're going. Oh, they used to laugh at me. They said that boy is being raised by a single mother. He can't make it. But they didn't know that I had a heavenly father. One rich in houses and land, and one who has the wealth of the world in his hand. And oh, they laughed at me because sometimes the pants I wore, mama made them. Didn't have designer clothes. Didn't have $350 Jordans.
But I didn't need $350 Jordans to learn math and to learn science and to learn English. For it is not the bark you wear, but it is the fruit that you bear. They laughed at me. They called me disadvantaged. They called me at risk. They called me poor. And then when I raised my hand, when I knew the answer, they called me the teacher's pet. When I said yes, ma'am, and when I said no, sir, they called me mama's boy. And then when I wouldn't use drugs and when I wouldn't get into gangs and violence, they laughed at me and called me a square. But you know what they call me now? They call me judge. And they're not laughing anymore. You just keep saying yes, ma'am, and no, sir. You just keep being obedient to parents and to other adults. You just continue to try the best that you can. And you're going to make it. There's no reason that you cannot make it. And we're counting on you. And we're depending on you. But most of all, we're praying for you. And all we expect is that you try to be the best that you can be. If you can make A's, don't let them call you a square. Don't let them call you a teacher's pet. Don't let that bother you. You just keep making your A's. And if the B is the best that you can make your B. If a C, just be the best that you can be. Dr. Martin Luther King said, if it falls your lot to be a street sweeper, just sweep streets so well that the living, the dead, and the unborn couldn't do it better. And that's all that we expect of you, is that you be the very best that you can be, that you'll stay away from drugs and alcohol and violence, that you'll remember the lessons of DARE so that you won't have to see me in a black robe at the courthouse. Choose wisely your friends. Show me your friends, and I'll tell you who you are. Choose wisely. And parents, be careful with them this summer. Be careful who you leave them with. Be careful who you let them leave the house with. Nobody can save them for us but us. They're our children. And when the school year begins, show up. Show up at the PTA meetings and show up in the classrooms and show up so that folks know that you love and care for them. And young people, have some fun this summer. But don't forget about summer reading. Don't forget about enrichment classes. Don't forget to go to the library and to continue to develop your innermost powers and talents so that you will be ready for the next level. You are so beautiful, so much promise. I have a daughter who is just 1 year older than you. And when I look into her face, I think of the places that she can go. And that is the same that is there for you. All you got to do is just work hard. Just be obedient. Just try the best that you can, and you're going to make it. You have only just a minute now. This summer's going to go fast. Middle school's going to go fast. High school is going to go fast. You have only just a minute. It has merely 60 seconds in it. It is forced upon you. It's not on mama, not on daddy, not on the teachers, but forced upon you. You can't refuse it. I know you didn't ask to come in this world. You didn't seek it, nor did you choose it. But it is you, not mama, not daddy, but it is you that will suffer if you lose it. It is you that will give account before some judge if you abuse it. You have only just a minute, but your bright futures are wrapped up in it. Work hard, stay sane, sober, and sensible. Do the best that you can do. And then out of the night, oh yeah, it's going to get dark. It's going to get difficult. There are going to be mountain highs and valley lows. But out of the night, which may cover you, it may seem sometimes black as the pit from pole to pole. But I thank God this day for the class of 2015's unconquerable soul. Let it matter not to you how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. Remain the captains of your faith. Let God continue to be the masters of your soul. Press onward from this point on the upward way. New heights you ought to be gaining each and every day. No higher plane that I have found. I pray that God will continue to plant the class of 2015's feet on higher ground. God bless you and congratulations.